The G20 is the leading forum for global economic cooperation, development and global governance, representing some 75% of global trade, 85% in global GDP and two-thirds of the world's population. And with a key focus on development amid lagging implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals, a focus on combating hunger and poverty.
Compete aos que estão aqui.
It is up to those who are here. It is up to those around this table. The unavoidable task of ending this scourge that shames humanity. That is why we set it as the central objective of the Brazilian presidency in the G20 launch of a global alliance against hunger and poverty. This will be our greatest legacy. The alliance is born in the G20, but its destiny is global. May this summit be marked by the courage to act. Therefore, I officially declare the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty launched.
Speaking in closed session, President Cyril Rampahosa indicated, according to prepared remarks shared with the press, that food security would be one of the high-level priorities of South Africa's presidency, while pressing the G20 to ensure that the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals remained at the forefront of international financing decisions. A view earlier echoed by the UN Secretary-General, who called for G20 leaders to take urgent action to address global crises and accelerate progress on critical challenges, including ending wars and addressing a warming planet.
The threats we face today are interconnected and international. But global problem-solving institutions desperately need an upgrade, not least the Security Council, which reflects the world of 80 years ago. In September, UN member states adopted the Pact for the Future to help strengthen multilateralism and advance the Sustainable Development Goals. And I have come to Rio with a simple message: G20 leaders must lead. And G20 countries, by definition, have tremendous economic clout and they yield massive diplomatic leverage. They must use it to tackle key global problems.
The outgoing US president pledged $4 billion towards the World Bank's International Development Association Fund for the world's poorest countries.
This is my last G20 Summit. We've made progress together, but I urge you to keep going. I'm sure you will, regardless of my urging or not. This group has within its power to usher in a new era of sustainable development, to go from billions to trillions in assistance of those most in need. This all may sound lofty, but this group can lay the foundation to make that achievable.
While reforming global financial institutions, in particular the debt burdens of developing nations, also took center stage in Rio.
It is also urgent to review financial policies and rules that affect developing countries in different proportions. The foreign debt service of African countries is higher than the resources that they have available to finance their infrastructure, health and education. International tax cooperation is essential to reduce inequalities.
While the group is also expected to pronounce itself as a collective on the pathways to peace as it relates to the war in Ukraine, after a G7 statement ahead of the meeting reaffirmed unwavering support for Kyiv as long as it takes. Germany's Chancellor here speaking after a call with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday.
Aus meiner Sicht richtig war.
In my view, it was and still is the right thing to do, to now speak with the Russian president, because this must be made clear to him. He has a responsibility. He must end the war. He must withdraw the troops. And he must not be able to make a gamble on support for Ukraine waning from those countries that are supporting Ukraine's defense. And that must be made clear to him too. Germany is the country in Europe that is doing the most and the second country in the world that is doing the most to mobilize support, and this will not change. But we must bring this war to an end, and that is why something needs to be done here. But we also need to speak at this leadership level here, and clear words must be found.
Sessions on Tuesday include energy transitions and a closing ceremony that will hand South Africa the leadership of the group for the next year. Shervin Ricebees, SABC News, New York.